What's going on, everybody? So we are continuing with part 2 of the history of Goku action figures, and this is where we get into the really good lines, like the ones we are currently collecting to this day, and some of the first really good figure lines. So, continuing here, after Jakks Pacific, we got the Bandai Hybrid series. Now, this is a line I absolutely loved. At the time, this was the best articulated Dragon Ball Z figures and had decent accessories, and before this hybrid line, we didn't really get accessories like this. But pretty much every figure in the line had alternate hands, which is awesome. Some characters or a character had an alternate head, then you had some that had an interchangeable torso, so we are getting very different type of accessories that we usually don't see. This line mainly did focus on like 3 3/4 inch or 4-inch scale, and they did release this line between the years of 2006 and 2008. And at this time, this was my main line I collected when it came to the Dragon Ball figures. They made a total of 5 Gokus in that time frame. So they made a powered down Goku, they made a Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then we did get a Kid Goku from GT. Another real cool thing about this line, I believe this was the first line that started giving us translucent Dragon Balls. That's awesome, because Irwin did give us Dragon Balls, but they weren't translucent. So I believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe the Hybrid series was the first line that started with the transparent or translucent Dragon Balls. So, as Champ was editing part 2, he found out about another figure line that we both totally overlooked and forgot about. And what's crazy is I had every figure in this line, even though they only made 4 figures. So this line here was pretty much the Japanese imports back in the early 2000s, which was also around the same time Irwin Toys was releasing their figures. So this was the Ultimate Evolution Dragon Ball line, and the company that was making these figures were called Unifive. Now, we did only get the 1 Goku figure, but as I mentioned, they only made 4 figures. So they made Goku, of course, Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks. So pretty much like the main 4 Saiyans. But what was great about this line was all the different display options, because you get a lot of great accessories. So for example, you could buy 3 different Goku figures of the same figure, but then you'll have 3 different versions of Goku. They gave you the powered down head sculpt, the Super Saiyan 1, and Super Saiyan 3. So right off the bat, it's 3 figures in one, or you could buy 3 of these figures and have 3 different versions of Goku on display. Now, the articulation on these guys was very, let's say, lacking in that department. You got points of articulation that were pretty much swivel cuts. But keep in mind, these were released over 20 years ago. The detail was another good and bad aspect to these figures. Back then, I really did love this line because the amount of detail they put into these, and they were definitely on another level, especially compared to Irwin Toys. Alrighty, so continuing on, this is where it gets really good, because a lot of us collect this line today. And that is none other than the best Dragon Ball figure line in 6-inch scale, and you guys already know it, SH Figuarts. This line started in 2010, and it is still currently going today, and it is also the most popular Dragon Ball figure line and most successful. They've been going on way over a decade now. But I do remember seeing that very first manga version Piccolo. Then I saw the manga version Super Saiyan Goku. They pretty much released them back to back, but these figures changed the game. I mean, look at them today. Wait till you find out how many figures they have if you don't already know. Tamashii Nations really came out of nowhere with these brand new, amazing 1/12 scale DBZ figures. With great detail, such advanced articulation. I've never seen articulation like that until NSH Figuarts Dragon Ball figure. And the accessories were just the icing on the cake. This is when like faces and hands started being a basic type of accessory to include with figures. So Goku was actually the second figure released in this line. Piccolo was first, and this line elevated action figures to a whole new level of awesomeness. When I got my first two figures, I was so impressed that I told myself this is the only line I'm collecting from now on when it comes to Dragon Ball figures. When it comes to SH Figuarts, they do have a total of about 25 Goku figures, not counting the clone Goku or any of the Goku Blacks, because that technically is not the real Goku. So we have 16 regular type releases, and then there's 9 exclusives. So within a decade time frame, they have made, or will shortly have, in total, 147 figures in the line, and 25 of those are good old Goku. They pretty much made all of the main forms or versions of Goku, but there are a lot more versions for them to make.
GT Goku, GT Goku, GT Goku, GT Goku.
Yes, that's right. GT Goku. I know you'll like that one, chap. So, after Figuarts made huge waves in the figure community, we got another company from Bandai that wanted to jump in, but with 3 3/4 inch figures. And that is the Dragon Ball Shoto line. And this line was around, looks like they started around 2013. Not sure when they ended, maybe 2018, 2019, or 2020. But it does seem like they aren't releasing any more figures as of now. So to me, this felt more like an updated version of the Bandai Hybrid line, which it probably was, because the Shoto line is also Bandai. They released their first series around 2013, and I believe they were trying to release and prep for the Battle of Gods movie. Personally, I'm not a big collector at all when it comes to 3 3/4 inch figures, but I do have both versions of Bardock. I love Bardock. Shoto has made a nice chunk of figures. They made around 6 Goku figures, so they did do a powered down version, a Super Saiyan version, a battle damage Super Saiyan version, Super Saiyan Blue from the Resurrection F movie, Super Saiyan God, and then finally Mastered Ultra Instinct. So they did make a pretty good amount of Goku figures, and versions of Goku I personally do like and prefer. Alrighty, so now moving on to the Figuarts Standard Model Kit line. This line here I have a lot of fun with. This line mainly focuses on 6-inch scale figures and is a bit different compared to your regular Dragon Ball figure lines because they're model kits. So it's not just the basic figure where you just buy the figure and that's figure out of the packaging. You get to build it, which is more fun, and then you create an awesome action figure. And they're also extremely fun to pose around. So Figuarts as of now made around a total of 9 Goku figures. They also made these 2 master grade Goku figure model kits. They did do a powered down version and a Super Saiyan version, which I never got, but I do have, and built most of their regular model kits. Seems like the Figuarts model kit line started around 2016, and they are still going currently today. They actually recently just released an updated new spec version of Goku that I did build and review, and cards of it should be popping up on the screen in case you want to check that out. So moving on over now to Dragon Stores. Damn it. So now, moving on over to Dragon Stars. This is a more recent 6-inch scale figure line, and it's from Bandai America. To me, this is pretty much like the Marvel Legends version in America of the Dragon Ball figures. If SH Figuarts are a bit too pricey, this is a good second option for collectors. They have released a bunch of figures within that time frame, and they made about 23 Goku figures in total. There's 15 individually packaged Goku figures, and the rest are in like 2 packs or 3 packs. And I do believe the line started releasing, or they released their first series around 2018. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's when Series 1 released. And the line is still currently going today, releasing new figurines. So, continuing on, we got another figure line very similar to Dragon Stars. And that is the Dragon Ball Evolve line. This line, it looks like they started around 2019 and they are still currently going today. And they do make Naruto figures as well. So this line is more current. You can find these figures actually in local stores today like Walmart's and Target's. This is also the next 5-inch articulated figure line from Dragon Ball since Jakks Pacific in 2005. That is interesting. So when this line released, Series 1, they were extremely difficult to come by because people didn't know the proper name of the figure line. So if you try to search for Dragon Ball Evolve, you wouldn't be able to find the line, which is very odd. From the end of 2019 into 2020, the issues got rectified. And now you can find this line easily in stores and online. They are still fairly new, so they haven't really had a chance to make as many figures. But it looks like as of now they have released around 14 figures on the line, and 5 of those is our buddy Goku! So they did make a Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Mastered Ultra Instinct along with Omen Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan, and then we do have the Battle Damaged Super Saiyan. Also, which line do you like better, the Dragon Ball Evolve line or the Dragon Stars line? Alright, so now we're heading into the last 2 figure lines. And this one here is the last official figure line. So in October of 2020, a new, slightly, a little bit bigger in scale figure line decided to get into the Dragon Ball figure game. Imagination Works. Now, I have never gotten any of their figures, but I am so tempted because they look amazing. They really do. These are more around the 7-inch, 8-inch scale mark, and they only made one Goku figure, which does have his base form head sculpt, and then they do have the Super Saiyan head sculpt, so you kind of get like 2 figures with that Goku. But Imagination Works really hasn't made too much more after Goku and Vegeta. They also did make a Luffy from One Piece, but I haven't heard too much more from them, so I'm not sure if they're still currently making figures, or if they are going to continue, or not, so not too sure about Imagination Works, but they do make some very nice looking figures. And then last here, we're going to move on to the third-party stuff, so I'm mainly going to focus on Demonical Fit, or Demonical Fit, and Kong Studios. Both Kong Studios and DF are pretty much SH Figuarts knockoff companies, but they're really good third-party companies. Plus, they make characters or versions of characters you will never see in the SH Figuarts line. Not in a million years! So, DF has been around for quite some time. There is also customizers and small companies who do just make head sculpts too. Think of that, Dragon Ball Z figures are so popular that we can just buy headsets and continues growing. Demonical Fit, they actually started off with head and face sets. Then they got into figures. And I believe their first figure was Captain Ginyu, and that released sometime in 2018. I can't give an exact number on how many Goku figures they have released, because how many different figures have they announced and not released? But they have made a nice chunk of Goku figures. Now, Kong Studios, they're a bit more new of a company compared to DF. I actually prefer their figures over Demonical Fit. Kong has also made a good amount of Gokus, plus Xeno Goku, Super Saiyan 4 versions, upcoming Super Saiyan 5, plus fan art versions, and just random awesome versions. So yeah, this third-party line knows what DBZ fans want, and they're pretty smart, because they are tackling versions of characters Tamashii Nations wouldn't care about. It's crazy from where I started to where it's at now. Just random third-party companies that aren't official companies are making Dragon Ball figures, so it's just crazy the history of these Dragon Ball Z and Goku action figures, and I love it. So wrapping up the video here, Dragon Ball Z will always be popular and new fans are born every single day. We see why we have so many different figure lines currently compared to the lines we got in the 2000s, 90s, and late 80s. We only had one line at a time back then, but the more the series grew, the more toy companies wanted to get in on the action. Today there are so many different options you can choose from. You can go with the high-end, more expensive figures, you can go with the decent price model kit figures, you can go with the more affordable lines, and it's just great having all these options, because you can pick and choose what you want to get. I mean, who would have thought back in the Irwin Toys days, or even the AB Toys days, that we'd have so many different Dragon Ball figures today? Because I sure as hell didn't think that. But yeah, these are pretty much most or all of the main Goku figures that I could find while researching everything. I had a lot of fun making this video and even learned stuff that I didn't even know before. For the next video, I plan to either do Naruto, Vegeta, Piccolo, Luffy, or Daredevil. You guys can let me know in the comments which character you want to see me do next for the history of action figures. You can even name a character that I didn't mention. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, I will catch you on the next episode of Daredevil 19. And I will also see you guys later. Damn it. There we go. All right, let's continue.